This is just an everything update, what's been going on lately. Sorry I put that book out. Also, the personal comments for each part. If you noticed by the last part 5, the personal comments, I was looking like a wet cat. Basically, I had a good sinus infection going. Took a round of antibiotics for 10 days, not enough. I'm on my second round of antibiotics for it right now. So hopefully that'll help. Anyway, let's see, what do I start off with? General stuff. Yeah, sisters came in for Christmas and all that. Got to visit, do a lot. When one of my sisters was here, Jennifer, found just walking around the backyard, found some little tomato plants growing in the backyard. So I told her I was going to dig them up and put them in the greenhouse, see what happens. And I did, and here it is. The tomatoes in the greenhouse are doing very good. I only dug up 6. I probably could have dug up a couple more, but that's enough for me for right here. So from the little wild plants growing in the yard from somewhere, I dig them up, and some of them have started little tomatoes, definitely blooms. So kind of fun. The rest of the greenhouse, I do have my aloe vera and the different plants here in the greenhouse, along with some of my neighbor's plants. So he brings them over for me to take care of during the winter. Then I'll take them back to her, including her little pineapple plant there. So that's a pineapple plant for her. This is probably one of the most exciting things I've got coming up wild in the yard, kind of wild. But I did have a homestead petunia from the pink house. You know, we've been keeping it alive for like 100 years or something. So this is the original remixed at seed, tall, different color petunias. And I was carrying them around and seeds dropped and started growing. And they were growing in all the little wild grassy areas. Like, see, there's another one right there in the middle of that grass area. And then here's another one in the middle of this grass area. And then they're all right there. And then especially up around the cinder blocks here, wall, they're protected from the wind. And the 27 degrees that it got the other night didn't touch them at all. Maybe the heat from the cinder blocks is doing them wonders. See, here's some more. So these are the homestead petunias. Got them going, staying alive. Kind of pinkish purple, different purples. Hopefully a white will come out. But when the seeds drop, you can't hardly transplant them. You have to just throw the seeds on the ground late summer. And then they come up and they'll live through the winter. They're really cold hardy. Really an amazing plant. And these are petunias. I am hoping the blackberry beds do great. They had just started coming out a little bit again before this cold, but I just want to get the roots established a little bit. All of this mulched area, this is all blackberries. This is probably also the reason I got a sinus infection, is digging in all the dirt and the molds and different things like that. The doctor I go to now, she's so used to it. I walk in and say I have a sinus infection. She's like, "You've been playing in the dirt again, haven't you?" It's like, "Oh yeah." Oh, for Christmas, my wife got me the cutest little thing. It's this. It's not a sponsor for this channel or anything. I mean, you know, whatever people say. But it's a vacuum sealer for jars. And I use jars all the time in canning and stuff. You know, little jars, mason jars. And all you do is you've got the little lid. Even if you open it and going to reuse stuff out of the container, this just fits on top. Presses a button right here. And it starts vacuum sealing down. And it'll just let it go. And it just keeps sealing down, and then it pulls the vacuum on the whole jar. So instead of us getting a big giant vacuum sealer like Abbott Armor that costs thousands of dollars, oh look, just that little bit. This one already sealed down. It's already sealed down. Just that little bit. But usually we just let it go and really seal good. That's the coolest little thing for jars. It's got a rubber ring, and it does wide mouth and regular mouths. So this piece will come off for wide mouths. Love it. Oh, love it. So with my freeze drying and then little things in it, I can just reseal it up really good with these oxygen absorbers in there. Nice. Let's see. Country boy. Everything's pretty quiet down at the pink house. There's not much to do. I will probably eventually go back down there just to mulch up leaves. The grass isn't growing. Nothing's growing. A lot of the apple trees have fallen over and snapped. Just not good and healthy. Apples don't do good there. I tried it, did a dozen. They lasted a little longer than some of the others. But no, the apple trees are done. So there are only certain things can keep growing down there, really. Pears do okay. Persimmons, excellent. Mulberries, excellent. Figs, excellent. So the things that do excellent get to stay. The latest thing I'm going to bring down there is my mom found my grandfather's Justice of the Peace certificate. My grandfather, Clyde Bradford, was a Justice of the Peace, and way back when, the little dog truck house and stuff, that's how he made a little bit of extra cash to buy food, was during wedding ceremonies out in the woods, way out there. So that's his Justice of the Peace. I got it framed and going to take it down there, and that'll be the newest addition to the Pink House for historical stuff. Strange happenings. Yeah, well, so I put the book out there. I believe it was part 3 or part 4, I said something that kind of caught my attention later. It was like, sometimes it feels like crazy, but I'm really not. But it just makes me think, what if this is, not that this things happening to me are real, but what if the broader implications are real? And what I was trying to say is the part about the Elohim, that's the part that really kind of got me, is a what if. Because I have these memories from before I was born. I had this walking experience of something much more energetic, bigger than me, fit two beings in one space kind of thing, and then they merged. Almost feels like wings. At one point I mentioned they were ripped off. Well, after the book, other things that I have in video in here, they came back. So they're back, but I don't know what it is, like energy or something down the sides of my back, spine, shoulders. Move them independently, which I've talked about before, and I couldn't explain it. Thing is, I'm sure I've heard that word in the past somewhere. But during this, I guess it was like a near-death experience when I got one word. I've talked about this in a past video. The one word was Elohim. And that didn't seem like a real word. I've heard of Elohim, and this was Elohim, straight in my face. I have put this on a video before. And then the first time I heard someone else use it was Phil Gruber during his Visitors to a Small Planet presentation. He talked about, he knew about some guardians and how they learn without knowing. They only realize this toward the later stages of their life. They would be protectors of truth, guard the stargates, have something to do with 1111. And all these coincidences came together. And he said they're also like part of the Elohim. And that was my whole thing, is thinking of the Elohim, however you pronounce it, however you want to pronounce it. I'm not great at pronouncing, but Elohim, it is multiples. It's a group. It's like, for me, Elohim is like a person. Elohim is people, is the group. Multiples, plural. Elohim is the plural, and Elohim is the singular. That's what it works for me anyway, the way I hear it in my head. Anyway, just thinking about this after putting up my book here on video, reading the book out loud, going back and looking at my comments, personal comments, and it's just like, things started happening. A lot more coincidences started happening, a whole lot related to what I've just been talking about. A whole lot of stuff started happening, of coincidences. One of them is watching a guy on YouTube. He's probably been out there a while, Paul Willis. He has a channel called The Fifth Kind. And I saw it. And then I started getting, it's like, okay, well, that's kind of interesting and all this. And the other night, I was just looking up, and it was like, I don't know if, it's like someone was there. When I talk about seeing through walls, it's seeing images and places and people and everything. I started seeing through the ceiling, this flat white surface kind of, seeing through walls. And I kept getting this impression of a person in a white shirt and a blue jacket. And it would not go away. I mean, and strong. And it's like, pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. That's all I was getting. And it was very clear. Very, very clear. And I was just like, wow. Just, and it felt wonderful. All this love and energy coming from this image. Just like, pay attention to this. And then I clicked on another one of his videos out there. And he's wearing a white shirt with a blue jacket. And I'm like, that was him I kept seeing. It's like, pay attention to this. Okay. So I did. watched a few more, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm not mistaken, he blew my mind a little bit, and still, the what ifs are coming together more and more, and the coincidences are still happening. It's just things are happening. What if what I said earlier, it really is true? It's like maybe a new child coming in here, a child of the Elohim kind of thing. Not a Nephilim type, but an actual child of straight Elohim. Because, and I'm saying that because of these memories from before I was born coming here, and then this other entity being positive coming into me and merging with both those two things together in this one thing. And it reminded me of what I mentioned with the green chakras, and that's my emerald green color, is in the middle between the two sides. And it's almost like I'm here in the middle, and then there was this memories from before, like a new being, a new soul just coming into existence, a child just being created out of existence coming in, and then later the more advanced form of it coming in to this body, the 3-to-1 kind of thing. It's weird. Thing that blew my mind, and really I was just like, what? He was talking about that some scholars and things believe the word Elohim means God, that it's a singular, and that blew my mind because it's like, that's wrong. That's not right. That's completely wrong. It's plural. I don't understand how people could even conceive that that word is singular, and that caught me off guard. It was such a strong reaction that when he said that some believe that Elohim is a single word, single, and not plural, not meaning a group of beings, but one being like God. And I'm like, that's such an odd concept to have, as it being a singular, and it's not. And just me realizing that myself, that I had such a strong reaction to it, it's like, that's weird, because it's just something you know. It's just weird. Anyway, the other thing is, talking about some of the Elohim of the past in the original writings, he was talking with another guy called Mario, what's his name? Got it right here. Mario Biglino. He's Italian. Apparently he's done some original translations of the Bible, the original Hebrew translations and stuff like this. And some of the words have been changed by people through the years to mean something different, to fit the modern society. But if you go back to the original words, the way they're written, they take on a different meaning, where Elohim, in some cases, modern, it means a singular God. Modern. Originally, when it was written, it meant more like a group of beings. They call them powerful ones, or some type of overseers or judges or chieftains, but powerful ones. And it's a group called this. And they had some kind of sky council with them. These powerful ones in a sky council. I'm just like, okay, I get that, Elohim, plural. I get that. I totally get that. And then he said, for the Elohim, some of the things they could do. One, he mentioned they could manipulate the weather. And I'm just like, oh dear. Because I've talked about that in a lot of my videos, me and weather manipulation, and how it scared so many people when I would do things like that. I have talked about that in several videos, and it is very real. It really is real. And it's like, well, that's a weird connection, because it feels like that from the beginning, and then all of a sudden he mentions this from some very old writing, that this is one of the things they could do. And I'm like, that's weird. The second thing that really hit me even more, probably the hardest, as of a coincidence and a relation to something I had said, the relation to it, was one of the other things they could do was what they called, in the old writings, they called seeing through walls. That hit me, because before I even heard the word starseeds, before I knew anything about anything, one of my very first videos out here, I'll have to look it up, and I'll put a link to it in the description below. That's even the title of the video. I called it Seeing Through Walls. That's what I've always called it, is seeing through walls. Other people say remote viewing for this and that, but for me, I've always said seeing through walls. And apparently, the original translations from the Elohim, they called it seeing through walls. That hit me. So this was what I'm talking about, coincidences and things like this that are stacking up. They're matching and stacking up. It's like confirmations, just different confirmations of this what if. Confirmation, 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 confirmation. So, it stressed my brain a lot. For about 3 days, I did take my migraine meds for that. And that's the 3 days in a row. And that's the most I've ever had to do, was 3 days in a row for that. And I'm still working on it. As part of this, I did purchase Mario's book. And this is what I just purchased, Gods of the Bible. His new interpretation. This is the author on the back, Mario. You see his picture there. And I hope you got his name from the top, Mario Biglino. I am just about to start it. I read chapter 1. I'm about to start chapter 2. Right here. So, I'm expecting my mind to be blown a lot. The other weird thing that happened with this, once I got this book, I got the impression to send a copy to my brother-in-law, Michael. So, Buffy, sister, Michael's going to get a copy of this Friday. It comes in Friday, okay? I don't know why, but the impression in my head was send a copy to Michael. So I am. Duh. I just do it, you know. But that's what's been happening lately, is coincidences, antibiotics, watching tomatoes grow in the greenhouse, just trying to keep track of different things and keep things going. That's about it. Thanks for listening.